me.
Episode 329.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker.
It's a tech podcast.
But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Ooh, doggies. What is up, everybody? Hello, welcome. Another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
If you would like to take part in the program, one of the ways you can do it is via a little thing we like to call Twitter. Trent, why don't you tell the kids how they could do that?
Good friend of the program, he was catching up on our last episode, used the hashtag NetHeads and asks, or just, pontificates, am I the only one, or does everyone's NetHead sound travel back and forth across their headphones? It goes from right to center to left to center to left.
Actually, I believe what you're describing, Trent, is the cha-cha slide. No, we are a mono podcast, so I would strongly recommend that you reevaluate your headphones. That would be my recommendation. But hashtag NetHeads if you want to take part with us on Twitter. Yes, we talked about a Patreon, or not a Patreon. We did talk about a Patreon, by the way. And if you are a member of the NetHeads Patreon, just go to netheadsonair.com. It should provide you with a link to get there. You can go ahead and enjoy the wonderful unboxing video I did for the latest and greatest that you can get from That Given Smith Club, if you're one of the members. And I got a little gift from one of our sponsors for Fat Man Beyond. And let's just say it's one of the funnest unboxings I've ever had. So, not that I've done a lot of unboxings. I guess that's a bit of a misrepresentation. But anyway,
that's the thing. Unboxings, I think the value for the unboxer is very much higher in the unboxing if it costs them less. The less it costs you, the more enjoyment you get out of taking it out of the box.
Oh yeah, I get super psyched about something that's free, but like taking if I were unboxing a new iPhone, it would be like, oh, here it is, knowing I'm married to payments for the next 3 years just to be. Exactly. Although, admittedly, in the Apple upgrade strategy, I do have to give them credit. Because you do actually basically get an interest-free loan for the full price of the phone when you buy them. So you get a 3-year interest-free loan.
Wow. That's actually a pretty good deal.
Yeah, when you think about it, because you end up paying the full value of the iPhone.
Not like paying for it 4 times.
Yeah, exactly. So in that case, it's beneficial. And now that it gets even more insidious, though, Trent, because now that Apple has their own credit card backed by Chase or JP Morgan or whoever, they make it so they'll give you even more enticements. Like now you can buy it from us, and we'll give you same as cash for a year to pay it off. So and here's your low rate to do it. It's so they've really got it dialed in. I hate to admit it because, oddly enough, I'm not the biggest Apple fanboy anymore, per se. But Apple does have it dialed in, and they definitely do know their audience for sure. Still got to do something about your hardware costs, though, guys, because...
Oh, geez.
Like, literally... Well, first of all, if you want to get into a desktop solution for a Mac, You know, like me, I've got independent monitors and everything else, so I'm not going to be buying the desktop-based Macs, and their towers, in my opinion, are way too expensive. So here, the Macs that I have in the studio are laptop-based, which from an audio perspective, not so thrilling, because with the laptop, they've gone the multi-port audio jack, so it basically you know, it's got the 3 rings, and they're intending for you to use your Apple headphones. So if I'm trying to get audio in and out, I have to use an external device. Like right now, I've got one of the extra laptops wired in with a Sound Blaster external card. Well, it's more like a full-blown port because it could work surround sound, but it's you know. It has to be external, and most of the time, if I'm getting audio from that computer as well, there's also an electronic whine coming from it because it's an external device. So damned if you do.
Any frequencies, yep.
Yep. Damned if you don't. And I've already got buzzing in my ears. I don't need extras. But anyway.
You know, I wanted to quickly call back to, I think it was either last episode or the episode prior, we were talking about people just getting into like recording stuff, and we were both lamenting the problems of people not understanding a input level versus gain.
Yes.
I walked into at work. I walked into the studio today to record a session that I had scheduled, and whoever was in there before me had the level down fairly low, and the gain turned to maximum.
Well, look, man, I
Was furious.
I understand. I appreciate your anger, but you know, I'm looking at a mixer in front of me right now, and admittedly, if I didn't know what I was doing, there's a lot of knobs. So you would like just start turning things to get a reaction. I understand.
Well, and to be fair, sure. Like if you're looking for, if I adjust this a little bit, it gets way louder, right? So I want to keep the levels down low so that I'm not clipping, and then I can turn the gain all the way up, and then I don't have to monitor anything, and it'll just be good.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I saw what they were thinking, and it was wrong.
Well, realistically speaking, one of the frustrating things that I have is always getting a decent level across the board. However, like in this setup, when we're going out live as a video product, I'm utilizing OBS, Open Broadcast Software. And when I do that, I actually do some volume adjustment just on the stream going out. So I adjust the levels there. What we record in is a lower level. So that way I know I'm not going to distort, and I'm protected, and and things are going to sound, hopefully, good. Although I do admit, I really miss the headset microphone with you, because I can tell your studio is tuned for that headphone and not that setup and not this mic.
Totally is. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it totally is.
Also, for those of you listening to the podcast, I'm going to ask Trent a non-relevant question, but, you know, I encourage you can go to our YouTube channel to also check out the video. You can also go to the Patreon page. I always post them there, and they're made public there. So that's like one of the freebies, because it's already free on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. But I do have to inquire, Trent, what is the, I see a Sentinel box behind you.
Oh, yeah, so good question, Will. Man, from like 2011 to 2017, we were in a golden age of 3 3/4 inch action figures. I mean, at the time there were even some new G.I. Joes being put out, and Marvel was cranking out, 2 series every single year. And now Marvel's doing a great job with these highly articulated 6-inch figures, but they're 6-inch figures, man. You're going to fill up too many shelves, if you're going to collect them all. So I collect the limited now, because they don't make them anymore, 3 3/4 inch figures. The Sentinel right there, they did 2 large figures that were to scale as compared to their 3 3/4 figures. The very first one they did was a Galactus, which I still haven't got. I can only imagine what they're going for now. And the Sentinels, I picked that up, I think, in 2010, and it was in it was after Christmas in the bargain side of toys at Walmart.
Gotcha.
And I 4 of them, and I sold 3 of them, and then that one's the one I keep.
And for those of you wondering, Trent's not talking about buying things and going black market with them. True netheads know that. Well, actually, you may be. But Trent at one time was a proprietor of his own comic book store, Death Ray Comics, my favorite comic book store in Logan, Utah.
Oh, thank you, Will. That's very generous.
I don't think so. I think it was accurate at the time. It's also the only one I had been in Logan, Utah. Not that I'm attempting to diminish the accomplishment.
No, it was the only one in Logan.
Has there been anything other than a rack at Walmart to fill that void?
There is another comic shop here in Logan that is a satellite store from a store in Ogden. But that's it. So there's a lot of they use it mostly for storage, I think, and it's primarily a gaming store. So there's a couple of gaming stores though. So that's, if you're into rolling the die as it is.
Yes, in life, however, usually when I'm looking for a 12 or greater, I'm unfortunately only rolling the one-sided die. So
not even a coin flip.
No, just one-sided. Hey, Trent, by the way, something that I don't know if we have mentioned on the show before, but James Smith is pointing out a very good thing. He's making a very good point, is what I'm trying to articulate, and that is that, Will, you're looking amazing. Thanks. Clean your screen. And then Trent looking good too. And I have to admit, we just see one angle of you usually when we're doing the video product of the show. But I have noticed that there is this is the, and I say this with all due respect, this is the least of you I feel like I've ever seen.
This is I am the Earth has its least amount of gravitational pull on me currently right now since you've met me, Will.
Well, hot damn. And if that's what you were looking for, congratulations. If there's a serious issue, just don't tell me I don't want to know.
Yeah, no. I don't need to tell you about the water situation here in Logan. I'm kidding. The water's fine. It's a joke.
I hope. So anyway, Trent, we all had high hopes with 2021 and the world maybe getting back to some normalcy. We were hopeful. We thought, hey, why not? But then, now they're impeaching a president, or actually they're going through the conviction process. He's been impeached of a president that's no longer in office. That's weird. But then there are some things that happen in the world, and these are the things everyone's talking about. By the way, I forgot to mention, Trent, happy National Pizza Day.
Is today Pizza Day?
I'm afraid it is, sir. Little.
Dang it.
You missed it?
2 years ago, I threw a big party for National Pizza Day.
Nice. Well, that's a plan.
I think I was pretty close to fired last Pizza Day, so I didn't celebrate it. But I would have this year had I known.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, you couldn't. Well, actually, you're in Logan, Utah. You could have had a big party if you wanted to.
Yeah. It's true. I could have gone to a restaurant and had a huge party.
I was going to say, speaking of which, are all the regular venues open in Utah, like movie theaters and all that jazz?
Yep. Yeah, they never shut down.
Oh, so then you are one of the few places where Tenet had actually probably played in the U.S.
Yes, maybe. Yeah. Well, I think so. There's one chain of really nice theaters, and I think it did close down for a weekend when that first initial thing did. But after that, yeah, it probably did play somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not nice. We're in a pandemic, but
yeah.
I mean, it life still goes on. My daughter and I had an optometry appointment near the end of January. I'm actually, you may not tell, I'm wearing new glasses, which I thought fit a lot nicer and felt a lot more comfortable and were lighter. But naturally, being the nerd that I am, I had to pull out the scale. They're 32 grams. Previous glasses were 30 grams.
Huh.
But my wife pointed out that the arms have a lot less to them. And these they feel better. There's nothing like new glasses day, right? That's
my optometrist retired, and he was at like, a chain store place, which was fine with me, but they said they'd call me when they found a replacement. It's been like 5 months.
I don't think they have. By the way, I don't fault any doctor in a large chain, and I got to tell you, one of the funnest days I had was wandering around a Walmart in sunglasses dilated. That was an experience.
Yes. Yeah. So I go to a Target, and when I get my eyes dilated, it's like, shit, what do I do in here now? I can't drive. The lights are beyond bright in here.
Yeah, it's always fun. Thankfully I haven't had to go through that lately, but I know it'll happen. And you have to like write off a whole part of the day. Anyway, the world's still nuts, Trent, and it's not getting any better. And I figure to make us more attractive to the interwebernet thingies, it would be good to talk about some of the hot topics that everyone is talking about and, give our unique perspective. Not to mention, I just got to say something because I can't believe how, pardon my language, everyone, fuck all stupid this is. Unfortunately, it comes from my favorite new social media home, which is TikTok. But there was a woman who ran out of her hair care product. The name of the product had glue in the name. It was a hairspray. So she ran out of that and went with another product in a very similar bottle that also had glue in the name and turned her head literally into a helmet because she decided to use Gorilla Glue spray adhesive to hold her hair in place. And now, go ahead.
I love Gorilla Glue. I use it a lot.
Seriously, Gorilla Glue is my go-to. As a matter of fact, I recently had to get double-sided tape in order to like rehang one of our alarm sensors because again, world crazy. And sure enough, the Gorilla Glue was both affordable and the most amazing of the bunch. So I went with that.
Product, if you're looking to fix hardware.
Fix anything. Apparently, also, if you want to affix your hair to your head permanently.
It's not good for doing your hair, though.
No, so she this particular and you can Google it. I'm not going to link to it but they're calling her Gorilla Glue Girl, and the reason why is because she went on TikTok to demonstrate, warning people. Now, first of all, I want you to grasp this concept, and it went viral naturally, but she felt it was necessary to go on and warn people not to use Gorilla Glue spray adhesive as hairspray. So first of all, what the hell, lady? I mean, okay, granted, weed is legal in a lot of places now.
Right.
So maybe the decisions we're making aren't so good, but damn. Now, and if you have not heard this story, welcome to the Thunderdome, everybody. But also, so she called Gorilla Glue, and they recommended using rubbing alcohol to get it out of her hair. And then she went to the emergency room and they attempted acetone. Nothing has gotten this Gorilla Glue spray adhesive off its hair, which, by the way, I'm amazed that they have not given her a sponsorship yet, because I am sure that anybody that is going to be looking to stick anything to anything now is going to get Gorilla Glue spray adhesive.
Well, I can only imagine that their legal team is like was very specific in how they were to respond to anything from her.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, she did start a GoFundMe to pay for her medical bills and go into the emergency room to try and get her hair unstuck from her own head. And Michelle asking in the chat, who in their right mind would use Gorilla Glue in their hair in the first place? Again, legal weed?
Okay, so it's interesting because when I read about this, back in the late 90s, and I was a budding young man who was really heavy into the musical punk scene, and but it wasn't I mean, Gorilla Glue is what I always buy is their super glue, right? Like
Right.
that's kind of what they're known for. And hardcore punks who did their hair like straight up and down would use Elmer's wood glue.
Oh, but that's again, that's water soluble.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And it was a very specific one that they would use, and they would put it in for like, it'd be in there for like a week or whatever. And they're not bathing to begin with, so what does it matter? But so when I first saw, oh, she put glue in her hair, oh, she put Gorilla Glue. Oh shit.
Yeah.
It was a whole other ball game.
Now, mind you, the last time my wife checked the GoFundMe, it had like 16,000 in donations. So, but now she also now has an attorney, and she is suing. And the reason the scapegoat, the thing they are using in order to pull this off, is that the warning label advises not to spray it on your skin, in your eyes, and they don't expressly say hair.
Yep.
And god damn it, I think she's
Darla would work for sure, right? Like,
yeah, but I'm terrified she actually stands a chance on this one.
Yeah, I mean,
guys,
on the, I guess
it's the same reason why every Superman costume warns you that you cannot fly while wearing it. Okay, It's because, and I guarantee you, 6 months from now, you're not going to find a bottle of the spray adhesive without the advice not to spray it on your skin, in your eyes, ears, hair, or any part of your body.
Yep.
That's what will happen.
Etc.
James Smith asking, Trent is a Danny Elfman fan?
No.
Okay, I am. Oingo Boingo is what I grew up on.
I mean, I do appreciate the Oingo Boingo,
well,
the band.
How would you quantify, or how would you qualify their music? How would you call it? Because it feels in some ways like it's kind of a predecessor to ska.
I would say that it. So if you look it up in like Discogs, I think it falls under new wave.
Gotcha.
But it was a different type of new wave though. It was to new wave as is shit, I forget their name now. Anyway, I would say they were they kind of fall into that same realm at that same time that like they're like an electronic They Might Be Giants.
Ah, very good. I accept that, and I will take that. And I will put it by that birdhouse in my soul, Trent.
In your soul. You get me. Get me.
I know, man. That's why it's been 11 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm wearing a hoodie because no matter what I do,
we're like brothers.
Somewhat. Actually, it's even worse because I'm still shilling for the company. I mean,
hey, company man.
It's the Silent Bob, which you can't get the Silent Bob hoodie anymore, and it's a goddamn shame. But I'm glad I got it when I did. I actually got this to be part of my costume from going to Jay and Silent Bob reboot set, and at the time I got it when it was on sale. I only spent $30 on this thing. And it is one of my favorite hoodies. Although I will admit, I don't know if it's appropriate to say this, but the zipper is backwards, which makes me wonder, am I wearing a lady coat? Because traditionally, in tailoring or seamstressing or whatever,
it's on top of the side.
Yeah, and which this one is. But it's very comfortable. The only thing I did is I swapped out the standard drawstring that they had. It was a wider, and I just wanted a more subtle draw. I wasn't into it. Now I regret it, and it's somewhere around here. I got to find it and put it back in.
Are you like me? Do you have to tie the ends so you don't lose them in the dryer?
Oh yeah. Any good hoodie has to have some type of. I didn't even know we were going to get into hoodie mechanics, but every good hoodie has to have that, because the last thing you want is to have to try and find a small enough safety pin to be able to clip on there, and then you're sitting there just kind of working it through.
Getting it back is the worst, yeah.
Right? Drive you insane, man. It's almost as bad as when you're dealing with the drawstring, where the it's actually mounted on either side and it snaps, and then you're like, oh, damn it.
Yep.
But anyway, Gorilla Glue Girl, what the hey? I can't believe this is the world we live in. That somebody, but that's the reason why they put legal disclaimers on products.
Everything. Yeah.
Now, the other thing that everybody is talking about today, and I am amazed at how fast this one went wild, because I think it was just within a number of hours that my sister-in-law had sent this to the family group chat on Facebook. By the way, one of the only reasons why I use Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that there was a Texas attorney doing a Zoom legal trial, and he was using his assistant's computer, who apparently their kid had used it prior, so he went to zoom into the meeting, and in the picture, in the video, he had the cat filter. And it was, I think the best way to put it is it's the healing salve that we need right now.
Yeah, it reminds me of the dad on was it CNN or BBC?
The BBC dad, yes.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, this is fun. This is what we need. Little did we know that he was trying to get a rapist off on a technicality, so that kind of changes things.
Trent,
but...
why do you have to sully it? I was just about to, I don't know. I was just about to say it's like cornbread. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But it'd be interesting, right? We all fall in love with this sweet old grandpa or whatever, and who's an attorney, and come to find out he is just a horrible person.
Yeah, because really we've really just kind of stretched out this story for about as long as we talk about it. But you bring up a very good point, because it seems like almost every time we encounter one of these people that gives us these feel-good internet moments. Michelle pointing out Trent taking it to a dark place real quick. Welcome to NetHeads. That kind of happens more often than not. It's like we enjoy these things about them, and then it just suddenly it takes this unexpected dark turn where it's like, yeah, apparently the guy was kicking puppies for hours on end before this.
Yeah, we don't need to get into it this episode, but if you remember the Weber Cooks guy from like 2010, 2011, he has a very, very dark past. If you ever want to look into that internet meme history, but yeah, it just, I mean, and is that because everyone has a dark past and everything is accessible now, or is that just what we remember? We remember the dark stuff. We don't remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that, and they lived a happy, good life the rest of their life, right? I guess that's a little harder to remember.
ZB in the chat, or Zach B in the chat, whichever way you want to take it. He says, "Remember Ken Bone, red sweater guy? Creep." I don't remember that one, I have to admit.
Oh my God! The New Yorker did an amazing short about him. It's maybe 15 minutes long, just about what his life is like and everything. Yeah, he stood up and asked a question in I think it was the not 16. Romney and Obama debate.
Oh, okay. I think I'm with you now. I think I'm remembering.
Yeah, and he just had this red sweater on anyway, and the internet fell in love with him, being like, "Oh, this guy is so nice. He's blah blah blah." New Yorker magazine, check it out. They did an amazing short on this guy and what his life is like now and what he does, and the crippling stage fright that he has.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really good. They knocked it out of the park. Great job. But yeah, yes, I do remember Ken Bone because of that short I watched like 2 weeks ago.
See, I was a little thrown there for a moment because, as I mentioned, one of my favorite go-to social media applications is I get some flack for this, but it is the talk of ticks, and one of the things that I've been gravitating on, because I'm not looking at the kids that are dancing. I'm not looking at a lot of the lipstick stuff. But one of the things that I did fall in love with, I'm trying to find him real quick, is I think his name is either Mark or Mike DePaulo. Let me just type in Oh, suddenly I fell into a song. I'm sorry. Let me see. Let me try MI.
If you are following the hashtag NetHeads, I'm tweeting out the link to that short if you want to watch it. The Ken Bone.
I know I'm following him, but he's not coming up. But I think his name is Mike DePaulo or Mark DePaulo. And he is an independent journalist. and he just does these very brief, quick news updates. Like, for example, he said, hello, good afternoon, hello, it's Tuesday afternoon, and President Trump's, and the trial of President Trump has started or is being debated, and Trump's own lawyers have said he should be arrested because he is not a sitting president, so the Senate has no rights. And then another point, and he's like, and this is not a joke. They really said that. So his delivery is great, but he's always wearing this like red sweater. He's got 4 of them. So that's where I thought we were going.
Yeah, okay.
Interestingly enough, one of the pieces of footage that constantly would get replayed after the January 6th insurrection was one of the sites of the police just opening up some of the barriers and waving people through. And one of those videos was his. So as an independent journalist, that must have been a terrifying, but also eventually probably a very big moment for him.
Well, in that same vein, the Daily Show's Jordan Klepper was on scene, and doing his, I'm going to ask people questions.
Oh, his Trump questions his
does, right? Yeah, and he eventually just was like, okay, shit's way too real. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And as a matter of fact, I don't want to get into the politics of anything, but like one of the most damning things that probably was in the pretrial today was, I think, almost a 15-minute video that was just a culmination of footage that was presented by the prosecution, for lack of a better term. And it really, I mean, it is very damning, especially when you hear a lot of people saying that they're there because Trump told them to be. They're there to support Trump. Right. But it doesn't bode well, okay? And my whole point in bringing it up is just this is a very ugly look for America, but it's also an ugly truth that America has to face, and we need to do something about it. But again, we're in a country where Gorilla Glue Girl happens, so,
Well, and since it is not a court of law, so to speak, the main push behind it, I guess, is, from what I'm hearing from legal experts or political experts, is that the only sanction they could really get out of it would be stopping the former president from holding office in any capacity ever again.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, look, if you supported Trump, that's fine. I did not view him as a very good president. I think that there is a lot of evidence now with the new administration coming in where you can see normalcy has been reestablished. Or some people may think it's just a bit more milquetoast now. But what I'm saying is that this was one of the most dangerous times in our country. And I think even beyond what the motivations may be on the surface, I think the most important part here is drawing a line and making sure that in the future we don't get close again to an autocracy, which we are. I read a lot of stuff, and independent of our own country, there were people that were saying that we were dangerously close to that, and that only, I think, 30% of countries that are at this tipping point successfully get through it. So
it out.
Yeah. So to me, it's a very terrifying thing. And, I've already said this, and I'm no Biden supporter. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the next administration, but I was really hoping we would be getting more of a palate cleansing here. And I don't think that's going to happen, because I think a lot of what we're going to see isn't about Trump at all right now. It's more about people facing the 2022 election cycle and their hopes to retain office, because, of course, it's all about power.
Yep.
It's all about money and power, which, by the way, I think is a quote from the movie Predator 2.
Is it? Oh, Predator 2 with the Jamaicans. Yes, you're right. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm not, I don't mess around, brother. I know.
I was like, I'm like, Danny Glover. Yes, I do remember. Yeah. So quickly, I hate to beat this dead horse, that being the story of Gorilla Glue Girl, it reminds me so much of the Simpsons episode where Lisa gets gum in her hair and everyone gives her all this advice. You know, when she went to when Gorilla Glue lady herself was trying all these different things, and Willie gives the great advice of chewing gum's got to be chewed out. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, just have somebody chew it out.
Well, and my very first thought, because interestingly enough, if you were to make a mistake and use a permanent ink marker on a whiteboard, right? You can try a lot of solvents, it won't come off. Interestingly enough, you go over it with a dry erase marker, it comes
Right
off.
out. Yep.
I'm just saying, maybe she should spray more glue. Maybe the light chemicals will start to help emulsify it somewhat and allow it to be. I don't know, man. I mean, like, realistically speaking, I don't think she's even at the point she can shave her head. How do we get back to this, man? How do we?
She did, though. She cut it.
Oh, yeah? See,
There was an update like an hour or a couple hours ago or whatever. Like, she cut it all off, but she said it's still burning her head.
Ugh, that's.
Which, I mean, take it for face value. If she says she's in pain, then let's believe her.
No, I would believe it, because if it is that strong, then those pores are probably clogged.
Right. Yes, you're right. Correct.
Have you ever worn a bald cap, Trent?
I've worn a swimming cap.
Yeah, there you go. Before you get in the water, that's not comfortable, is it?
No, it's not at all.
Yeah. Maybe Elmer's glue would help her. Maybe. I don't know. You just got to find the right chemical that'll help soften it up. If one even... Look, the most terrifying thing that we should be taking away from this story, Gorilla Glue does not know how to undo Gorilla Glue.
Well, I mean, the Elmer's glue is not a bad idea if you had that one kid in your class that was willing to eat it out of her hair.
There you go. No, it's not gum, Trent. The Willie advice won't work. Okay.
Didn't we all have that kid that ate the glue in our class? I did.
You're talking to him.
Oh, sorry, shit. Hitting close to home today, my bad.
I'm kidding. I'm like, I saw an opportunity, I took the shot. Trent, one of the other things I wanted to talk about, because we are allegedly a tech podcast. And so far we've just talked about 2 bits of news. And we always seem to kind of come back to TV in one way, shape, or form. I listened back to last week's talk, and yeah, it was kind of interesting, but fuck all I could care. But what I did notice, there's a certain trend that is happening. And this is one of the benefits of streaming your content that I never would have picked up on. So my wife is a regular watcher of daytime television. Let's put it that. Well,
Sure.
no, hold on. That makes it sound bad. I'm not saying she has her few select shows that she does watch, much just like we all do. Okay.
Yeah.
One of them is known. Well, let's just call it a daytime drama. Okay, because I think they're not soap operas anymore. They're not selling soap.
They're not sponsored by Tide.
Exactly. But today, as we mentioned, was the pre-trial coverage, basically, as they were doing the debates. And so she went to the recording of it. Now, in our house, we've got one of 2 sources you can utilize. You can utilize Hulu. You might be able to use Philo. That's 2. And the third is the fact that I do have the HD antenna. Now, so I do, and that's hooked up to the Fire TV recast. I don't fucking know the name of it. I should.
It's the DVR thing that comes from Amazon.
Exactly. Look, I was expressly thrilled when getting ready for this and I was pouring my drink. I just blurted out Devotion Wrestling because I remembered. Okay.
Yeah.
But with this, anyway, I can't remember what that's named. But so there's one of 3 options. Now, the interesting thing in having Hulu as one of our streaming providers is that you can also set up your shows to record. Now, here is the rub. You go to the recording on the DVR, it's all news coverage. Let's just put it that way. It's all news coverage. You're not seeing your soap opera now. You got to hope it picks it up on that random 3 a.m. re-air kind of thing. Yep. Right? By the way, ZB pointing out, Ostensible Techies, great band name. I agree. So The interesting thing about Hulu, though, is that they receive their media from the broadcast company. So they have the live broadcast. The recording might be that, but they also, if you have the right plan, also just give you the option to watch digital media and stored shows. And at some point in the day, once they've already aired on all their networks, so I would probably say about, let's just say sometime after 6, because that's like 2:00 in Hawaii. All right. So the last vesture of or the last vessel of American television. They will then upload the media. So sure enough, my wife was like, nope, can't watch it. And then after 6:00, she's like, there it is. And I'm like, that is one of the coolest goddamn things about streaming that I've ever seen.
Yes, and this is so spot on to two things here. So when I'm watching WWE, I don't have cable. They air on Fox and also on USA. The USA show is 3 hours long, and it's too long. Like, any show should not be 3 hours long. But the Hulu version always does an hour and a half, which is actually better because then you're only getting the stories that you actually care about, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I do. I'll be up at night and I'll be like, I wonder if it's uploaded yet. But for them, I think they're waiting on WWE because they shoot it live, and then they have to get them a cut that has been whittled down to an hour and a half per show or whatever. Side note to that, I have decided I will no longer watch the WWE until either one of two things happens. They have a live audience or they stop piping in fake crowd noise.
I've only experienced that with major sports, and that is weird. You know, when you know it's an entire crowd of like cutouts in baseball, and then you're hearing the crowd noise. And my biggest question is, are they piping that in for the players too, so they at least feel a little more normal or a little less normal?
Honestly, I think, and this is just what I'm taking from the WWE, they're doing it so you can't hear them. You can't hear what's being said in the ring. You can't hear the stage direction off. I think it is a buffer for production to get away with shortcuts, because otherwise, I mean, what cool, think of baseball, man. If everybody was bought in and they were like, okay guys, we're going, if you swear and it gets aired, that's an FCC fine, this is how much it is, blah blah blah, right? And everyone was bought in, that would be a cool experience. You would hear like people talking to each other, and like it could be a really fun, cool experience, except that'll never happen, so they have to pipe in crowd noise or whatever.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. That is probably because I am sure there has always been, but it's always been covered up by the noise. Like even just subtle audio cues from the wrestlers themselves on the execution of a move. That's a good safety measure, right?
There are highlight reels on YouTube because Triple H is the worst of calling out moves so loud that the camera does pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just highlight reels of him screaming it. So to no end, yeah, I think that's why they're doing it more than anything, because that would, force them to like work harder in the interim, or they can just pipe this in and it works.
Yeah, I think you're onto something, man. I never would have thought of that. I don't know why I never would have thought of that. It seems like common sense. Zach Byerly is asking us a question, Trent. He says, any thoughts on the upcoming Paramount streaming service? Looks like they'll have a good catalog, but I wonder what will be leaving my current subscription service because of it. I'll give mine, then we'll go to the sighing man in Utah. Personally, I don't care if it's just CBS All Access getting rebranded and I'm getting the same shit I get out of CBS All Access, then I'm fine with it. I don't care, really. If I get my Star Trek Discovery, which, by the way, shockingly, to me, has been one of the most enjoyable Star Trek shows made in the last 20 years. I mean, look, actually, I shouldn't say that. I think every show has been good. I think this took the tradition while also getting the freedom of streaming online out of their system. I could only imagine, though, if like they start rebroadcasting it, because I think as a filler on CBS, they did that. They started re-airing season 1 while we were waiting for season 3. And, they were on a streaming service. So there was adult language in Star Trek, my friend.
Yeah, and at least from what I have seen, that it's basically just going to be the next evolution of All Access. It's a name change with some more movies added in, and that'll be about it.
Let's call it what really is. It's a smoother transition than DC Universe to HBO Max. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, bless their hearts. Bless their hearts.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a friend about this over the weekend too, because man, DC was bought into their streaming service with daily programming that was coming to the streaming DC universe every single day. And then, AT&T acquisition, I'm guessing all of those jobs were pulled and no more daily content, no more comic book reviews or saying what's out this week, just really, really good stuff that helps build affinity with the brand that DC needs, just yanked out from underneath them.
Well, we've also been living in a world where for 2 years we were constantly wondering what is the future and fate of DC Comics, because it always seems like we hear that they're going to stop printing them and they may just go electronic. They're going to do this, they're going to do that.
They're no longer distributed through Diamond.
Yeah, too.
That which has thrown a big hiccup for a lot of people, and it's extremely interesting too because Diamond is not parting but also not selling their backstock of DC stuff.
What, they're like holding it hostage?
I don't know. It's bizarre. You can't the stuff that was ordered pre leaving Diamond, just as it's unavailable, and all of their back issues just they say they're not there, but you can't order them through the new distributor either. They've just disappeared somewhere.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird world. But it's okay, Trent, because in the future everything's Taco Bell. So.
Oh, yes, and Carl's Jr. Don't forget.
No, never. I tell you though, it is when you have some type of digital tablet, digital comics are almost, to me, a more enjoyable read, especially when you put them into that reading mode where it blows up the panels and shows things in order. Because invariably, if you've got a stylized comic that's doing some funky stuff spread across 2 pages, I'm reading something wrong and I got to double back.
And I agree, as long as they are good scans. And because sometimes when they digitize them, they'll touch them up. And so they'll go in and throw them, I'm assuming something like Illustrator, and re-vectorize them a little bit, try and clean them up a little bit. But in doing so, sometimes you lose some of the unique techniques they used to do, like dual toning, where they're actually cutting out dual tone patterns and placing into the background, stuff like that. So I'm totally with you as long as they are good scans.
Yes, I would completely agree. Quality is important. Can I tell you a funny literature story?
Please.
Okay, Trent, we've known each other for 11 years now. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not going to be hurt if you get it wrong.
Okay.
Do you know what my favorite... I'm going to throw in a caveat here.
Okay.
And we've even recently talked about it there. I've really disclosed it. But do you know my favorite Stephen King book?
The Stand.
Correct. Kudos to you. I don't have a bell to ring or anything, but good job.
Dang it.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, but at least I didn't have to play. So that's good. Yes.
Dang it. No.
Oh,
That
you've
was
got
me.
one. I'm like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
I'm looking at computers. I'm expecting something. Yeah. Stop. Look, put your soundboard on hold, sir. I'm the soundboard here. Okay.
You were going for it, and I was going for it. It just, it was a cluster.
It just went all haywire. I recently ran into a weird thing, though. By the way, and I do kind of have to throw almost a caveat in there as well. The Stand is my favorite book. However, it is also, interestingly enough, the book that I love the first half of. Not so thrilled. I don't know why I love the society all dying off and the world collapsing, but then it's almost like I don't know. The story isn't cohesive for me after that moment. I understand, like, gathering all the quote-unquote good people in one place, all the bad people in another, bad people, if you want, in another place. But everything else that happens after there, we should probably almost have an entire episode just to ourselves that we don't bore anyone else with, where you could probably advise me more on the spiritual and the literal or literary, I knew I'd get there, the literary implications of the latter part of the book. And the first part I love. Anyway, my favorite Stephen King book, so much so that I go through copies of it. And as a matter of fact, like, there was one point where hanging in my office was a page from one of the books that had fallen apart where Tom Cullen is saying that Jesus is his shepherd, anoints his head with oil, and gives him kung fu grip or something like that. One of my, just a favorite bit. My daughter really wanted to read The Sand. And I realized, oh my gosh, I've only got a digital copy of this book now. I don't own it anymore.
Oh, uh-huh.
I mean, I've got bookshelves here, but I'll be goddamned if they've got... I gave you 2 of the books I had, for gosh sakes. I don't... You know? So that was a shocking revelation to me. It's like, wow, so this is supposedly one of your favorite books. You don't even own it anymore, dude.
But oh man, like Stephen King books was what made me fall in love with like literature and reading and writing. Like I can directly trace back to, you know, getting like the first book I ever stayed up late to read was a Stephen King book.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard to get through because I was, you know, like 12 or 11, but it was like, it changed me completely as a person in what I would hope is a good way.
I think Wizards and Glass would probably be my second favorite Stephen King book from the Dark Tower series. Not that anyone asked.
By far the best of the Dark Tower series.
You've also told me time and time again that one of his best books is actually on writing.
Oh, dude. Yes.
See? Look, we know each other so well. It's almost like we're married. Thankfully, we're not. But, well, I mean, you know,
true.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just I love my family and my wife. And, you know, honestly speaking, I consider you a great friend. And it's okay to love your friends, but just don't love your friends, if you know what I mean.
Well, it would never work, the distance.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only thing keeping us apart, Trent.
Exactly. Otherwise, I mean, yeah.
I forgot where I was going with that. That is a sure sign for us to wrap it up. What I was going to say, though, now I remember what it was. On the topic of The Stand, because I think last week I kind of mentioned how one of the things on CBS All Access is the limited run series version of that. And I got to admit, and I can't believe I am saying this, and I have no juice. I'm not a Josh Boone. I'm not going to be... Zach is pointing out you could be my brother husband.
Yeah, see?
Bringing it back to Utah, my friend. If I may say that, I apologize to everyone in Utah. I was just making a joke. I apologize. You know, all one of you who's on the show, so never mind. I really think they had a missed opportunity here because the way they told the story, they kind of took the Lost approach with, like, this is the quote-unquote present, and now let's go back to when everything was falling apart. And I almost feel like they missed an opportunity here. Trent, as you can see, the studio has gone red. We've already talked about the fact that the house is smart, and my family is indicating we've gone too long. Time to wrap it up. So let me just finish this thought.
Major Will Robinson.
Right? Exactly. It's terrifying in here now. I'm burning in Hades as all has gone red. Red alert. I don't have the spoiler sound on here because it could have been all... Anyway, I really think they had a missed opportunity here because I think that what they should have done instead of a limited run series is they should have committed to a certain number of seasons because there is a lot of the story that got left out and a lot of the story that could have been told. And I think they really could have had like one season of book one, and then book 2, I think is the way it's broken out. Actually, it's like 3 books, I think. Yeah, but 3. 1 and part of 2 could have been book 1. And then the other parts could have been like another season, the way they were telling it, because you don't get enough backstory on it. But other than that, it's been okay. And just like the book, like the latter parts, I'm like, And now I'm just looking forward to what happens when Stu Redman and Tom Cullen get back together. So fingers crossed.
It's interesting. We'll let you go, but it's very interesting because that is exactly what they did with Nosferatu, Stephen King's son book that was made into a television series on AMC. The book one, it's in 2 books, book 1 and book 2, and it was season 1, season 2 with a cliffhanger, perhaps for new content for a season 3.
Oh, very nice. See,
So, yeah, it makes sense.
But then again, I also understand maybe CBS didn't actually. They're like, we're putting all this money into this Star Trek business, so we can't really give you guys the big budget and commitment. And it's true. One of the best things out of Star Trek Discovery season 2 was the resurgence and the reinvention of Spock and Captain Pike. And now I understand they're actually getting spun off into their own series, so that'll be cool. But anyway, the lights have gone red. It means the show is dead, Trent. It's time to go. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you listen to the podcast, please remember, go to netheadsonair.com to go ahead and get any links. And gosh darn it, Trent, I forgot to do it, but I want to start incorporating live reads again because I love Duke, Cannon, and Company soap. So with that brief moment said, just go to netheadsonair.com/Duke, find out more about it, 30% off on your first order. It's just a damn quality soap. Unfortunately, I think it's mainly targeted for men, but you know, if you're a manly lady, you might like it too. Who knows? I don't know if you want to smell like pine.
Hey, if you smell good, you feel good.
Exactly. So thank you very much, guys. Also, don't forget to check out Devotion Wrestling. Where can they find that, Trent?
YouTube.com/C/Devotion Wrestling.
Very much appreciate your guys' support. Go to the Patreon if you like. Plug. We're out of here. Until next time, my name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we'll be back
soon.
Nope. Second time I've done that.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker.
Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
I know I shouldn't be so hard on myself because I'm basically running the entire program out of here, but man, when I hit the wrong button, it bugs the crap out of me.
Will.
Yeah.
Will.
Yeah.
We didn't even mention 329.
Oh gosh, the title. Well, it's here in the stinger. Folks, this is the 329th episode of NetHeads on the 329th day of lockdown. Quite literally. Give yourself a round of applause. We have made it. You have done it. You have... Tomorrow, COVID's gone, everybody. We have hit numerical symmetry. So exciting.
Did it.